So Sarah and I ran a session on imposter syndrome this week. We thought it'd be really useful to summarise what we covered and to share some of the learnings. But we didn't actually call the session imposter syndrome in the end, Sarah, did we? We called it Imposter Phenomenon. Do you want to quickly explain why?
Yeah, so it comes from some research, I think, was it in the 1970s?
Yeah.
And they're suggesting that by calling it an imposter syndrome, it sounds like a condition, something that you suffer from. Whereas if you just change it to imposter phenomenon, it suggests that it's something that's happening in the environment, whether it be in your workplace or generally in our culture. And by just changing the way we call it, can change the way that we relate to it.
Yeah, and I remember reading that bit of research and that actually 70% of people experience imposter phenomenon at some point in their lives. So we're all in good company.
Yeah, and not just women. I think quite often we tend to think that imposter syndrome is something that happens to women, but when we started looking into it, there's quite a lot of big names, aren't there? Tom Hanks, David Tennant, even Lando Norris, a Formula One racing driver, is claimed to suffer from, be aware of it feeling imposter phenomenon.
Yeah, it affects men and women the same. It's just that piece of research was done on high achieving women, which is why I think it's been attributed to a women's thing. But it often happens for high achieving people in quite competitive, high achieving contexts. I think that's often a pattern with it. In the session, it was a very participative session. People were really sharing and contributing, which was great. We started off looking at some of the costs of imposter syndrome to the individuals, to organisations and society. Do you want to share some of the responses that came up?
Yeah, so the costs, they were quite rapid fire, not sleeping, working too hard, taking up your family time by, finishing off at work, preparing on Sunday evening before Monday morning, not speaking out in meetings, putting yourself down before you speak out. And also, the wider implications, you're sort of depriving your company of your wisdom and your expertise.
And people kind of underplaying, not realising or achieving their potential. So those were the costs, and they were, as you said, came forward very quickly. Less quick, perhaps, on some of the benefits. There must be a reason why we're doing this, why imposter phenomenon exists. So what were the benefits to imposter phenomenon?
That's why I really love doing these sessions, because you sort of say to the group, so what are the benefits? And they're like, well, there aren't any. But then you start, well, we must be doing it for a reason. And we think, okay, well, it drives us to be better. There's the push to achieve, to be good. And then thinking about, perhaps where it came from. Sometimes it's from school, we were bullied at school. And so it sort of keeps you part of the pack. It keeps you safe. And the more you start looking into it, you do start to realise that there is a positive benefit of this behaviour.
So we asked about the costs, we asked about the benefits, and then we asked the group, so now you know all of that, what kind of difference does that make? Please share some of the responses again.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing was just knowing that they weren't alone, to have this space where people could come and talk, and they're like, oh yeah, the same thing happens to me. So there was a real vulnerability, but a pleasure in sharing and realising that people weren't alone. And then obviously by being aware of it, it gives them the opportunity to start thinking, okay, well, maybe I'd like to do something different.
Yeah. And then we asked the group to conclude it. Now you know all of that. What are you now going to do differently? And we got some great tips and ideas.
Yeah, so I think the favourite one was the one about the perfume, wasn't it? It was to, have a spray of confidence perfume that you could apply whenever you needed it. And then to start thinking, okay, so when I'm doing it for this reason, perhaps to keep me safe, how can I keep myself safe without putting myself down? So reflection, I think.
And people just saying, I'm just going to talk with confidence. I'm going to relax. I'm just going to talk with confidence. I'm just going to be more aware that it's there and talk to other people about it. Because if I'm feeling like this, I now know that other people are. And actually, if we talk about it, it kind of reduces its impact on me and on the organisation. So there were some really lovely tips and ideas that came out of that. And Sarah and I are clean facilitators, so we use clean language to really help put the attention on the group and to share the knowledge of the group. So we didn't put up a big PowerPoint presentation, we didn't share loads of statistics. We knew that we had a whole bunch of experts in the room, 70% of people, that this is why people came. And so we really created a space for people to share what was going on. What did you think worked well in the session?
Well, I really like the way that you and I work together. We're really holding a space, we're supporting each other to hold a space where people can talk and share their ideas. And I like to get people thinking, and you see that sort of ka-ching, and it's like, oh yeah, they're starting to think of things differently. Yeah. How about for you? What works well?
Well, I'm just wondering what you didn't think went so well.
Oh, all the time. We never have enough time.
Yeah.
You and I have been doing these dive deeper sessions, which last for 3 hours, and we could easily spend 3 hours talking about imposter phenomenon.
Yeah.
So to squish it down into 55 minutes, it always feels a little bit short of time. But that's what we're doing. It's quite often a lunchtime session. It fits in nicely with people's work days. And if all we do is get people thinking, then we've done a good job.
Yeah. Anything you do differently, or you'd like to do differently?
No, just keep doing it.
Yeah,
keep doing it.
Yeah, we'd love to run more sessions around this theme, this topic, and others. And so if you're interested in getting us into your organisation to run a session on imposter phenomenon or something else, do get in touch.